everyone, welcome back to Drawn by Annie channel. This is me, Annie, and I will be drawing for you today. Grab your tea, coffee and snacks and let's dive into today's video. So how's your life been? For me it's a bit overwhelming, but I'm trying to push through with all that I've got, but mostly things have been going great. I've been taking care of my mental health mostly recently. I've been trying to spend some quality time with my family and my cats and see my friends when I can. And I've been doing some exercising as well. I've been trying to start going to gym. Since I haven't done that for a while, I need to start very slowly. So I began with some workouts at home as well as doing some cardio outside with the machinery that our community has to offer. I'm thinking of going pool maybe one of these days because the weather has become very hot and maybe I need some sunbathing. Like most of us, I have like a vitamin D deficiency, so I gotta work on that a little bit. And that's pretty much it for the life update. I hope things have been going for you well as well, and you can let me know in the comments what's been up to recently in your life. What's good, what's bad, what's neutral. Tell me everything. And while you're on it, I am going to show you how I work on this ginger spread for a PNG Tuber model that I've started working on in my previous video. So in the previous video, in part 1, I started this drawing from scratch. So I started with a blank paper, which usually is not the case, but I've started to do that more often on the video. So I started to make like the most neutral greeting position for the PNG Tuber if I'm going to ever implement that in my videos. I wanted to see how long it will take me to finish one sprite and see maybe if I want to simplify the design or maybe go with another character with also maybe simpler design or different vibe. So for Ginger, she is cyber girl, so it's like futuristic sci-fi design, like aliens, space and robots things. That's kind of vibe. And for another option that I was thinking as well as Ginger, I was thinking of doing like a magical girl vibe because I have a persona character that is matching this, like a witchy goth Lolita style character. So this is the first trial. In one of my next videos, I think I'm going to try to draw similar sprite for this other girl and then see which one should I work on in the end and like make the rest of the sprites. I think I'm going to host a poll for you guys to choose from, and then I'm going to dive deep into research on how to do a PNG tube model and everything. So because I haven't done anything like that before, like I would love to try animation, but it was always like a terra incognita for me. I never ever did anything even closely reminding about animation. I only did some comic and stuff, but that's pretty much just like drawing any other comic or manga. It's just different shots and storytelling boards and everything. It's not really an animation, so I'm expecting a lot of challenges and screw ups from my side because usually when I start learning something new I screw up a lot. But that doesn't really scare me because I think it's part of the process to try and learn. And on the way, I'm just trying to have a lot of fun, as much fun as possible. So I'm going to share this little journey with you. And I hope we can grow and learn together. So in the previous video, I was talking about how I made Ginger in the first place and why was she born actually. In this video, I'm going to showcase how I work on the color and the line art. So most of the rendering process will be featured here. And then after that, when I'm done with it, I'm planning to scan it and maybe do some light editing using my digital tablet because traditional art tends to have some minor imperfections that can kind of ruin the whole sprite, and I cannot really fix that using traditional medium without it being visible. So it's much easier to kind of, you know, smudge and hide the imperfections in the digital part since it's going to end up up in the video anyway. That's the plan for the sprite and for the coloring and finishing part. So since I'm aiming to be as clean as possible with my coloring, I'm going to land my colors firstly and then put some shading with similar tones and darker tones, and maybe do some highlights with my white gel pen, especially on the eyes. And then after the coloring is done, I'm going to land the line art with colored liner this time. I want it to be a bit softer look and have more matching vibe, I guess, with the colors, because usually the black outline gives a bit of extra contrast from the line art and the coloring. So since I'm not looking for a very contrast picture, I'm going to use a colored liner this time for this drawing. And if I end up with this character, I'm going to make a similar sprite for all the other expressions and other poses. So I need to keep the same colors and same markers and same liners for all of the rest sprites that I'm going to do. I don't know how many exactly I'm gonna end up doing, but I'm planning to make a few different expressions to cover most of stories and contexts that can end up in the stories that I tell you. So yeah. So the most challenging part, I think, will be is I need to make it as similar as possible to each other, and for a traditional medium user as I am, it can be challenging because each sketch and each line and, you know, each drawing turns out to be a little bit different from each other, even though it's like a same character. But since I cannot copy paste it like in digital art you can or like duplicate layer and just, you know, remove an expression and put another expression on their face, or like cut their hand out and move it a little bit and keep the rest of the body unbothered. Yeah, so I cannot do that with my traditional medium for the most part, but I think I will try to do some of the life hacks that can help in copying the original sprite. So I have like a light board. I think I'm going to try and trace over my own artwork like a silhouette drawing, so at least I have the same proportions and I will not be making too different of sprites. And even though they will have like different parts and details like hand position and maybe legs position and facial expressions and, you know, whatever that will require a different sprite to have, I can still manage to fit in the frames that I put for myself and for the sprite and the character. So yeah, light board it is. I'm going to copy it and then use it like a guideline. I will not make completely the same copy paste drawing, obviously. I'm just going to do that for a guideline and for helping myself to keep a consistency going through all the sprites. So I'm really only drawing from scratch the very first one, and then the rest I'm just using the first one as a guideline, as, you know, as if you were using a tutorial or like a base or a reference, even though it's different how you use each and every one of these tools. So idea is to keep the same consistent look for each sprite and only really change the details that you really need to change, and try to keep the rest as static as possible, since it's not like a 3D tube and you don't need to rig every part of your character. It's just like a sprite that changes positions a little bit and facial expressions. The way I imagine it, it's like animating a character for a visual novel, you know, when there's mostly reading and everything that's happening in the story you're reading from like either a dialogue or a little text window from above or below, and then there's the character that is speaking this text, or like it's their thoughts or something that's happening, you know. So that's how I really imagine how this will kind of work, and I hope it will work out. You know, bringing a character to life like that for the first time, it's very exciting. And I don't know, I have never done anything like that before, or like a voiceovering somebody else. I just think that if I'm going to use like a PNG tube, I mean she's representing me, but she's still like a character herself, so she it's also like she has her own thoughts and her own opinions, I guess. I don't know. I cannot really make a fully like a character that is going to be fully me, because whatever character I make is just part of me, you know. I cannot make a character that is 100% Annie. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I've made so many characters in my previous like art journey. I just learned to make characters independent from me, because I am me. It's the only me that there is in the world. Everything that can represent me is still like a not 100% part of me, or like I don't know how to explain this. It's still, I'm going to role play as Ginger, or Ginger is going to role play as me when she's in my video. Maybe I should create a character that would be completely me and without any background, so it would literally be me, but that wouldn't be as fun. So I don't know, this is so hard. I don't know, have you ever made like a PNG tuber, or like a persona that would only be you, wouldn't have any other quirks or like a background or a story or a world, that would be fully you? Now that I realize that, I think maybe I should make a new design instead of this one. I don't know, help me choose, please. Yeah, I have too many thoughts and ideas, and sometimes they're just going together like a big salad of ideas. So my head is like a big bowl of creativity or some ideas, and whatever information gets there. And then at some point it just turns into a dish or a mess, like a big mess. You cannot really tell whether that's a salad or whether that's like a prep for pasta or like a porridge. Sometimes my head feels like a pot of porridge, literally. It's just something sticky, something semi-sweet tasty, but has like a weird texture and questionable nutrition. I don't know. Yeah, I guess maybe OC is not the best idea to make a persona character into, because she already has her own life and own quirks and everything, and it's going to be either me role-playing like her or her role-playing like me, or being my face simply. So it's going to be like a fake identity in a shell of a character. So maybe I need to create a completely new design that would fit the channel. I don't know, tell me what you think in the comments. Because Ginger as a character and like behavior-wise, I think we would be very similar to each other, because we both would have this a funny and maybe a little awkward personality that would try and make some jokes around and like try to make people have fun and enjoy their time spent with her. At least that's what I see her like. But she's like a cyber girl and she has different perspective on a human life, while me, I am a human and I cannot really feel like a robot, because I have my human insecurities and human flaws and needs. And you know, it's maybe I'm overthinking it. If you think so, also let me know in the comments, because sometimes I just end up in this thought process and I put myself into like an empty room of thoughts and I bombard myself with options. So what if this? What if that? What if I do this? What if I do that? And then I end up stuck and I cannot really decide. So I really lack some input from outside. Yikes, it's very hard. Anyway, I am finishing coloring and line art here, and I think this is going to be pretty much it for this sprite. And I need some time to process all the ideas and think about what should I do with this PNG Tuber idea and everything. And I hope you can leave some comments with your thoughts and ideas and maybe help me choose what to do from now on. Because yeah, I feel like stuck a little bit, like what to do next, because I like to draw and that's the biggest thing. And sometimes I just don't know what to do with this big passion into drawing. I just do arts for fun, but sometimes I want to do something bigger. I want to work on something more meaningful, I guess, like a comic or a book or like illustration for books or novel. But pretty much the biggest part I wanted to do is like Lyria World, but I'm not sure if you guys want to know more about that fantasy project of mine, because it's much easier for me to organize my thinking and have a meaningful art and like a way of thinking or like a vector of thinking if I have a certain frames to work with or to work within. If you want to see more of the random artwork, please let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more Lyria related work, also let me know in the comments, and I'll see what I can do. And like maybe you have like some requests, maybe fun arts, or maybe some shows that I must look into and maybe do some art from there. So yeah, I would very much love to do something that you also like. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much for your support and your comments and your input. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.